Thank you very much, Ghali.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are co-founder and CEO of Ralio.
Exactly.
And you've just raised a very exciting pre-seed round.
Exactly.
Over 2 million?
Yeah, $2.5 million.
Okay, wow. Not easy. Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you very much.
Why don't we start with the origin story a little bit?
Yeah.
Get the background into how did Ralio start?
Yeah, well, we're coming back to maybe the first day of my career, but very quickly, the first job I had leaving consulting. So I started in law firms and then in consulting. And then when I left consulting, I joined like a startup early on. And I was supposed to have like a job. And then on the first day, they told me that's not the job you're going to get. And your job now is we have this product, but now you have to sell it to banks. So that's how I started my career. And so like I was like thrown in on the first day and I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to do things a bit differently and learn about how like banks work. So I started doing that. We had like pretty much most of the European banks working with us through the first year. And then like within that, we like worked on like the product, like all as well, like about like the journey, reaching out, like all the business development with them, and the part around like the tools was like the one that like I was really excited about. So like from there I transitioned into like business operations roles, and then I've done it in like different like scale ups.
Okay.
So some of them became or were unicorns, and within that space. It's pretty much like how do you make a company work better, and could go from like running a billing system to like workflows internally, and then I left that with like there's so much effort going on with like how we're trying to run companies more efficiently. Okay, there must be a way I could leave this and like build a product that like allows them to have these processes and manage at least from what I was doing like. Different like software spend, etc. So I started like looking into that, and then I remember so in London like talking within the program. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna do this to like reduce software spend, and then I realized at some point that like most of the way we use like software products today is going to shift. And potentially we simply won't see them the same way we see them today. Okay, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, something's gonna replace that, and I'm starting to say like those agents coming in, and so how are we going to allow them to like run what we run today with those agents instead of using software? And so realized quickly that the element that was blocking there, so like actually make them like more autonomous, is like how do you safely make them pay? And so that's how we met with my co-founder, Leo. Leo has like spent like his last years building payment infrastructure. He was really excited about the agents. We met around this team, and then we were like, okay, well, I come from my business operations background of like how do we run companies more efficiently? How do we make sure that they pay for the right thing? Him with like, I know how to make the things pay. So let's merge this and build something. Yeah.
How did you meet?
Yeah. Well, the story itself, like the timing is crazy. So this conversation that I just told you around like, oh, I wanted to build like this tool that like allows you to manage your spend, etc. At exactly that same time, we were like part of this Antler cohort. And around that time, within that, you have like coaches that you talk to. So I was talking to my coach, David, back then. And he said like, hey, why are you not taking this even further and like be like, okay, yeah, software is a thing, but like what happens? How do you make those agents actually run the process for you? And right, like this was like 3 p.m. On the first week of the cohort. Yeah. And whilst I was talking to David, Leo posted a message saying like, hey, I'm like exploring how like the agents are like interacting with like payments. Is anyone like keen like to chat about this? Like, so Antler runs this cohort where like you basically come from like a technical or business background, and then you mix up and then you start working together.
Cool. Antler being the VC firm for anyone that doesn't know.
Exactly. So Antler runs also like as part of that is a VC firm. So like they basically backed us before like the business was even existing, even us like working together. Yeah. But those were like extremely early days of like even agentic payments. Like the category did not have a word back then. Like now we say it and it's like to some people all over the news or something.
Yeah.
But for us, it was literally just like, okay, I have an agent that is acting. How do I like just concretely make it pay?
Yeah.
And so basically, we like I remember leaving the room and then I was like chasing Leo because the way those programs run is that you have like a set of people, like they throw in like 100 people.
Yeah.
And then you need to like mix and match up, so it looks like almost like a reality TV show or something. And so I started running in the office, like trying to like find him and have a chat with him. I really spent a lot of time trying to convince him on my whole software idea, and he was like, no. Like I've been working with agents for quite some time now. I can tell you that like we can do much more advanced than this. And so my pragmatic self of like, how do we solve the problem of today shifted to like, oh, well, actually the problem of today is getting more and more into this area, which looked hyper futuristic like a few months back and looks very present right now.
Yeah. That's super interesting. That would be a good TV show, like co-founders at first sight or something.
Yeah. No, like the content we could have, like people break up within the show. You have like teams forming up, teams breaking up. Yeah, like it's as an adventure. Like when you come in and like you have no, and then obviously we start working on this. We start developing the product with the relationships and everything. And so then you form up a company. And obviously between the moment we kind of left the cohort and now. It's a business with employees and everything.
That's crazy. That's amazing. One thing I find really interesting about this, the origin story, is that even within the ideation, there was a kind of pivot where you're saying, you were looking at business operations and you were thinking about not software in the traditional sense, but you were thinking about like kind of tech solutions to that. And then you shifted into payments is the kind of bottleneck, the key enabler of actually making that future happen. What was it that kind of gave you and Leo that insight that actually, we need to focus on the payments bit of this problem rather than kind of all the different use cases and everything else?
I think it boils down to like the timing in which you build a business.
Okay.
If you're solving for a problem that is already there, or like there's like already like 6 months back or something, then you're already too late. Like because when you build a business, whoever builds a business, like you can go as fast as you want, but like you have some time dedicated to like make your name known, like build up your product or something. So if by that time you're still like figuring things out, then you would have like everyone else who has already like kind of like solved the problem. So you have to like focus on an area where you see the problem coming. It's obvious that it's coming. You understand something yourself through your experience about like what this problem will look like in the future. And you start building for it now so that it becomes obvious when the problem is in. And by then you're like, oh, well, they already like built all this that can actually serve us.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And it feels especially relevant in today's world, in the AI world, where like the cost or the time of building like solutions with software is like constantly decreasing. And I guess that window is therefore narrowing for traditional solutions. So kind of foundational problems that you're solving, though, are foundational problems. they last a long time. They're big to solve. And I guess you have the unfair advantage with you and Leo of understanding payments and business operations.
Because we'll come back to it for sure, but it's also like what do you bring in as a person, right? Today, like pretty much everyone can learn about anything. Like someone can become an agentic payments expert in the next like 5 minutes in this podcast. So the goal is what is fundamentally something that like is shifting. What is technology bringing, but what problem does it solve? The technology is a means to an end. Like the end for me is like, how do we make businesses more efficient? And then there's how do we get there? And how do we get there? There's multiple angles to it. And so that's where like within the founding team and the company, you're like, here's our angle. Here's what we bring in because we think we have a say and a way to win in this particular angle.
Yeah, that's wicked. That's wicked. So, I mean, talking about agentic payments, like you said, it wasn't really a category or a thing not that long ago. Now it is becoming a thing, but different people might have different definitions of this.
Yeah.
How do you in Ralio, how do you define agentic payments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we strip down to maybe like one line, it's a payment that is initiated not by a human,
Okay.
not by a software configured by a human, but by a non-deterministic artificial intelligence or AI agent that is acting on behalf of a user or a business, but likely a user. So that's the one line of what qualifies as an agentic payment. And within that, and I'm happy to like kind of like deep dive on like different categories that did not exist when we started, and now there's like subcategories to all this.
Okay.
But the fundamental shift is that we've always been used to like have some form of connection to a human that has instructed that payment.
Yeah.
We then moved into an area where notably like Griffin is, where it's like, oh, what is like software is actually interacting through APIs with our infrastructure. And so, but the software is still very deterministic. It's just like a set of rules, if then else, that we like configured within that.
Okay.
And now you have like that new actor, which is like an agent that like we don't know really if like it's what the user has instructed or not, if it's like configured exactly like a software or not, that is doing that payment, and how do you cater for that specific actor?
Yeah. That's super interesting. And I mean, being in the banking world, when someone says non-deterministic, I freak out. But I guess that's part of the reason you folks exist, because this is kind of one of the core problems that you're looking to solve.
It's not necessarily always like how do you bring a non-deterministic agent to like become deterministic. Otherwise, there's no point. If the whole goal of it is to just come back to actually we will add like a set of like tools to make sure that it acts a certain way, then we're just rebuilding software all over again. So there's no point in having the agent. The better way to look at it is mostly like, do we understand how these agents are going to act? Like, what are the type of things that they're going to do themselves, not what they're replicating, what they do, what the models are today able to do, what are they going to do in the future? And how do we direct them to act in a way that fits what we want them to do? Which is like a different way to look at it. So maybe if we take a step back in like the agentic payments and a bit of like the category, we obviously are on the business side of it, but for like any listener, there's the consumer side, there's the agent side, and then there's the business side. So just a bit on like the consumer and the agent, because those are like on the consumer side, that's mostly where you see like the news on the agent side. Because like it's consumer, so like it speaks to more people. So this is like the classic, I go on ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever, and I want to buy my pair of shoes or any sort of like what we call now agentic commerce. And basically the agent goes and like browses different websites and then either like shows you a way to like check out, so basically pay for the product within your own like the same interface. Or directly you could like basically give it your like some spend limit and directly just buy the groceries for me, I'll do this. So that's the shift that is happening on the consumer side. Like, are we still going to go through an e-commerce website, or are we going to shop directly from that? So there's a lot happening. That's an exciting area for us to look at, but not something that we actively work on. The second area that is new is basically for the agents themselves. So we talked about like software and SaaS has been pretty much like working through like subscription models. But you could, for the agent, like they sometimes just need access to like a specific content. So how are they paying for that specific content? Maybe they need access to like a tool only one time to run a specific browser use type of use case. So how are they going to do those microtransactions to pay specifically for the usage they're going to need? So this is the agent buying for itself what it needs to fulfill whatever work it has to do. So this is a nascent area. This is by definition not something that existed before, because the agent are the consumers here. And so like this is another shift that is happening within agentic payments. And then the third one is the one that we've mostly discussed so far, is like, how do I run a business in a more efficient way, and how can I trust an agent to actually like act on my behalf? And this is what we specifically work on ourselves.
It's funny when you mentioned the second one. I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but the first thing that came to my mind is that, like, I don't know, employee spending within a company, like you might get a corporate card or whatever, go and here's your like envelope, here's your spending limit, and go and do stuff. But it's a different thing, I guess, when it's a computer.
But it's to some extent we extract the same type of logic. The difference is that, and the mistake not to be made is to think that the agent, because of the model or something, will act the same way as a human would.
Right.
And this is not true. No. And so that's why like most of our focus and what we work on is on the agent behavior, not on what they mimic. I don't really care about how close it is to a human. I care about how it acts, because that's they will just continue developing through that path. They don't necessarily, they're trained obviously on like data from like human behavior, but we solve for the agents. We don't solve for the humans.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So because my next question was going to be, how do you, within all of these spaces, which like each of them is huge.
Yes.
Yeah, like agentic commerce alone. It's a world. How do you decide as a young startup where, like when you and Leo just met, how do you decide which of these problems to focus on?
It's that's why it comes back to the origin story and like what you know. If I spend like the last 10 years in like e-commerce and like with all the brands, I would be building likely an agentic payment for like the checkout experience, right? It so happens that I started with like banks and B2B and SaaS. And same thing for Leo on the payment infrastructure side, mostly working with like the largest bank on like connecting the rails. So you take it from what you worked on. If again, I worked specifically in like dev tools or developer tools, I would be building like in the agent ecosystem to try and like give access to like APIs and pay for that. But I worked in businesses and I optimized how they run. And so like that's the space I wanna be like spending my time on and where I have a say and a way to develop that. But obviously the area and a lot of it makes it exciting, but the fact that this is moving and we can come back to it at like a speed that like humanity has never seen, makes it that for us, it's already good that we have at least something that we focus on, because everything else changes. So we need our focus on something. Because otherwise, like it's simply impossible to run a business in this era. If you like, every morning you have to shift what you focus on.
I was gonna say, because the level of FOMO I feel these days is off the charts. Like every day there seems to be another release from whether it's one of the foundational labs or someone else. So it's interesting that you say, you very deliberately focus on your area and you make sure that you're driving that forward at the frontier, and then you kind of let everything else, let the agentic commerce and whatever else.
Not just let them. It's so we will come back to like what Ralio does specifically, but I want all of these areas to succeed, but like to succeed like really immensely. Like why? Obviously, like today is. For me, like my word, obviously, everyone talks about agents, but for 99% of the people at the time of this, like they're really, really far from saying this, and the most of the B2B payments today run manually. Some of these payments run through some software, and then known point something has an agent behind it. So. The shift that the ones who are working with agents see and at the very direct level, us as a business, we're obviously like deploying solution, but we're also a startup, and we also have to pay bills, and we also have to run this. And so we see how we operate the business. And so the way we operate the business, because we're agent native, we like kind of started with all these tools. So think of like us. Think of like a business just born like 6 months after us, and think of a business like born a year or two from now. They don't even really know what the UI could look like or how you used to do things. And if you obviously think even further, you have like most of the businesses in the world are yet to be born, and some of them are still are existing today. So so that's how you change your gear, and you're like, okay, it's important that I build something that sustains the future. We're a startup. That's what we solve for. If you're an incumbent, you have like other issues that you tackle. The issue that I tackle is like, how do I serve best what is relevant a few years down the line?
That's such a cool way of looking at it, that like, future businesses are going to look so different with all of this new tech stack. It's going to be a completely different story. I've been lucky enough to see a demo of Ralio last week, and it's really, really cool. We don't have we have screens, but we don't have a demo. Maybe you can explain to people what it is, the at least the early parts of what you're building.
Yeah. So what we want to bring into this is how can we ensure that businesses trust their agents when they want to run a payment?
Okay.
That's what we solve for, and that's always what we will be solving for as part of like what Ralio does. The way we solve this will evolve through like how businesses are running their payments, but that's what we focus on. As part of that, so to come back to what an agent is, as we said, like it's an undeterministic way of basically asking it through either a prompt or like another like agent asking it that you want to like run this specific payment, let's say for an invoice. And so you upload that invoice within like Claude or any of like the tools that you use, and you like pay for this. So it might tell you, oh, I don't have access to your bank account, or like, can you give me access to your bank account? Which you could do for some of your bank. You can directly give it like some form of API key, and it can access it programmatically. And then the question is, once you hit send, are you as a business going to like just throw Claude to pay exactly the right amount in the right currency to that business? No. The easy answer is no. The reason behind it is obviously you have the classic hallucinations that we know of, but even like if the models like improve and they will still have some level of hallucinations, you also want to see how actually the agent is going to do the different tasks that it's planning to do, right? Like the agent reads through the invoice, so that's the first thing. What does it understand? What is the payment within that, etc. Then it will understand who's the beneficiary of that invoice. Is that beneficiary someone you already know, don't know? So you basically want to configure your agent in a way where you give it like all these rules. And this is where, as a business, you could be like, oh, you know what, I will like code my own agent to do so. But then you need to think about all this. And so that's what we bring to the people that are like building those agents. We abstract all of this guardrails. So how do we give like the right spend limits? We make sure that we give the right identity to that agent, so we know that this agent is linked to this API key, and so we can like safely connect it to our infrastructure. And then we give like the audit that like says, here's what happened with the agent, here are the different like set of like actions that it ran, here's where it failed, where it worked, and so basically we give it back to the businesses so that they understand what went right, what went wrong. Because in payments, so anyone who works in the payments industry know that like the whole payment industry tries and make it work every time. But if you work in payment, it does not necessarily work every time. Like a lot of like in the consumer world, not you get like maybe 5-10% of like the people coming to check out and wanting to pay who are not able to, and like the whole payment industry tries to optimize that percentage so that everyone gets to 100%. And so basically, you want to ensure that if something goes wrong, be it that the classic, the agent went rogue and like started doing something, to like it just simply tried to connect to your infrastructure to do something, and at that point it was down, and so the payment didn't go through. And so you need to understand, was it wrong because the agent didn't do the action, or was it because it did do the action, but then your payment provider or something is not working at that moment?
Right. Yeah. So okay, this is really, really interesting, because as you said, there's a lot of steps that need to happen in that business process, and there's a lot of steps in that payment. And there's the opportunity for things to go wrong, which it does already without agents.
Exactly.
And you're bringing a level, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're bringing a level of visibility to that entire process, so that both, like you said, people can trust that the agent has done the right thing, or if something has gone wrong, you know exactly like what's gone wrong and how to diagnose it and how to fix it.
Exactly, and that's where we sit as a layer. We're a trust layer between the people building those agents. And the payment provider. So we actually that's why it gives us a lot of very interesting work. Is that we work on both ends, because on the payment provider side, agents are still new. They're like, I need to spend time trying to figure out. I don't doubt that they're extremely smart and that they will like find ways to like interact with those. And I would say like the difference is that for us, natively, like everything we do is like to serve those agents. And so basically the point for us is, how can we, when interacting with the payment providers, abstract that complexity of the agent to like talk the language that they understand, the authorization, the call, the API call that they want to have on their own end, so that like basically they can welcome these agents within their infrastructure. And so that's where we sit, is that when starting, you can go different direction. Even in the business payment, you can become directly a payment provider. You can there's multiple ways you can go, but if you look again from a timing perspective, where we sit at the time of this is like still, I don't know how an agent pays. And so like we abstract all this complexity, we create the set of rules so that like the payment provider is also like happy to welcome them within their infrastructure.
Slightly technical question, sorry. One thing that fascinates me is how different AI models have like different personalities almost. How do you account for that when you said you're like building agent first, you're making sure the agent understands all of these things. Is that like agentic personality even a factor in what you're?
Yes. It's a big one. So that personality, which is quite nice when you chat with them. Some people would like one versus the other. Is also like a significant risk, notably with like agents that are like trying to please the user, and basically be like, the payment didn't work, let me retry it. I don't know if it worked, let me retry it again.
You're getting into fraud territory.
No, like, and then the agent really, really nicely made the payment 5 times. And for the agent, it never got anything back that the payment went through or not. And so for it, it's just like trying to be helpful. So obviously we run through like the various models, and that's where pretty much like the core of the core of our product does is how do you build within those guardrails a set of tools that understands what the agent plans to do. Then have indeed like some set of like hard coded rules that where you say to the agent, whenever the agent wants to make a payment, it's not like just a sentence or just a prompt. This is an actual deterministic API call to make a payment. So when that API call is made, do I route it to like a human to approve it? Do I actually like run another agent through that to check if the first one is right or not? So that's what we bring to people is this layer of like, okay, how do I build enough of the architecture so that I understand what the agent is planning to do, and avoid like this infinite loop of like, oh yeah, the agent has just been trying to be helpful, doesn't understand, or like, yeah, we had like cases, we had loads of crazy cases, like because we run our own payments, and we run our own payroll, we run our own invoice, so we gotta make sure that it works, right? And in like test environments, that does create things like converting from pound to pence and then back to pound, so it like basically multiplies the amount by 100. No, but like
I didn't imagine that, but it's so easy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because you can run it through like simulated things of like what already like simulating what humans do is extremely complex, and you have like whole companies dedicated to simulating human behavior. So take it like up a notch with like an agent, and considering you can ask it like 100 times the same thing, and it gives you most of the time the same answer, but also like not that. So you gotta build things fundamentally differently.
Wow. I'm just thinking about my tiny Claude Code examples where it says it's going to do something and it doesn't. But then, in payments, it's a different story. It's a lot bigger risk. You mentioned, so you're working with businesses on the kind of problem side. You're dog fooding. You've got your own payroll, bills, etc., that are being put through that. You've also, on the other side, you have payment rails, banks, payment providers, etc., that you could work with. What's the biggest challenge for you right now, would you say, in this like very complex ecosystem?
Biggest challenge is an interesting way to frame it. I think the question on a daily basis is what's a challenge, what's a bigger one, and what's a bigger one, and what's a bigger one. I don't think that there's anything but challenges. But I would say back to the timing. We think a lot around that. Like, obviously, we're at the forefront of like anything new and the newest thing that has been out to be, and to understand like how far it can go, and like have the conversations around that. But we need to bring people in, and that's the work that basically we set ourselves to do. Is like, okay, how do we convert people from manual to automated to autonomous? So manual to automated has taken quite some time. Like already, we're not like just coming to like B2B automation in payment, right? Like that has been going for like 15 plus years of B2B tech that is building like account payables, account receivables, and like all of these software. And even them, they're still educating the market and be like, oh, you're running a lot of things manually. You could do it automatically. But the thing that we see is that the adoption on the agent is not the same as on the software. What I mean by that is that there's a higher likelihood that if you go talk to a business that they've tried using some agent, at least for their own personal use case, like at least the person you're talking to understands what the agent can do. And so you can have like this classic movement of like leapfrogging, where like basically you're like, oh, people will move potentially from manual directly to like the autonomous, and be like, oh, actually, I was running through like my Excel and like sending like trying to connect my invoice. What if I like just copy paste all this and give it to Claude and like let them figure it out? They could not do it before. No. Before that, they would like, oh, apparently there's a software doing it. How does it work? Oh, I need to pay for it. I need to configure it. Like someone needs to come and explain it to me. Whereas like now, not only they can feed Claude, but even if they don't know, they can ask directly. And that's why the rate of learning is so fast, is that it can say like, hey, I have this bunch of like invoices. Like how can I run them? And by then it says, oh, well, actually, if you give me access to your bank account, I can do it for you. And so we just want, when they say, connect me to your bank account, to make it very clear to everyone that, you can do it, but it won't be exactly what you're expecting.
This is fascinating. I feel like we're kind of having a conversation in the future.
That's why I so at the core I'm extremely pragmatic, right? Like, and so when we're talking like there's a lot of discussion around this agent economy and like an agent buying from another agent. This is for sure something that we are like within what we build.
Yeah.
There's a lot of seasons. Like I call them seasons. Like we're season 1 of Ralio, which is like a business, again, in the space of like a business making a payment now uses agents. It's like, okay, this agent helps me like process things autonomously. But then as a business, you mentioned like corporate cards or something. Then there's like, okay, well, I run like business travel. And like within that, I want like my employees to be able to like shop like or like buy their flight tickets or like their hotel or something using that. So that's where I'm like very happy for the agentic commerce to like basically pick up, because then as we are like they trust us to actually have those agents running and access their bank accounts, they can also trust us to like, okay, now we can give those people at Ralio the ability to like move in and actually like shop for us. And then that's season 2, and then season 3 is okay. Now actually the invoice, I don't want to pay it, and I want to negotiate it, and I'm gonna negotiate it with an agent on the other end. That the negotiation is not just a matter of like, oh, I want to pay. It could be on like payment delays or like due dates or things like that. And so you wanna have this. And today is like a series of emails between like accounting or like controlling department. What happens if like the agent runs that? And so you have like different seasons, which is like how the word will look like. But already on the season 1, that is something again that you can run today. Like we run our payments. Like it's not just a theoretical scenario or something. It's something you can do today. And the reason we do it today is just because it's much faster, much cheaper than doing it like any other way. That's it. Like I don't do it because it's we're not. It's fun to like build it. But we're not doing it because it's fun. It's just because as myself, as a CEO, I have to like run those bills, and it takes me time. We're like an early stage startup. We don't have like a whole finance department, and so I want to be able to do it like really fast and in a safe way.
I love that you're using your own product in that way. It's very cool, and I think it will show people what's possible, because I think adoption, especially for me in marketing, like. In this new AI world, it's so interesting to see how different people pick up different parts of AI in different parts of their life or work or whatever. It's really, really interesting psychologically. And I think we're really at the very early bits of that. We're not early in when it comes to like kind of like people understanding about like AI and capabilities. We're early in the development of it. Obviously, it's like something that like came to the world like quite recently, but we are so early in like the efficiency gains from AI, and this is like something that not just us, but the whole ecosystem will work towards like giving people access to tools that are basically like showing how the end-to-end works. Wow. Gotta take a breath. Before we wrap up, because somebody was late because of the tube strike, you have just raised a very nice pre-seed round. Maybe you can talk people through a little bit of that, like co-founder journey. What was that like of raising a pre-seed round in AI? If there's another like founder or aspiring founder watching this, what advice would you give them about going through a process like that? What are some of the fun bits, the not so fun?
No, I receive like at least every day like a couple messages around that. So I'm happy that I can share it now. And
it's a scalable solution.
And then I can give it. So if you are building in any like parts of AI something, and it's both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because investors are looking for like those solutions, because investors, again, especially at the early stage, they have to think like 5-10 years down the line of like how big can this be. So how big can this be? They need like to understand that you're taking like a curve. It's a curse because pretty much everyone can build anything. And so like you see like some form of solution popping every single day that does something remotely what you're working on. And so if you combine that with like a whole new space where like you're still like kind of like educating the market about all this, and the single most important advice that I give like the founders, like through my own experiences, really what makes you specifically going after this problem.
Okay.
And from that, you can derive all of the classic like traction and like how does the product look like or something, but tie it back to something that will not shift, which is like you as a personality that is going for this. You want to be able to not tell a story, but also deliver on a story that makes sense. And so that's why like today I'm like, here's what we do, and here's the reason behind what we do. The fact that yes, it's an area that like attracts investors, that helps the business, and that's like a kind of like a strategic move in that. But that doesn't change anything to the fact that I left like the companies I was at because most of my work was around optimizing businesses. And I want to further like go further into like optimize those businesses. And there's an occasion, and that's given by timing, that allows us to look at that. And if you look at like a lot of the founder story, like you cannot remove the timing out of it. Like it's almost impossible because if we are like 5 years down the line and we wanted to, like someone coming in with like, we want to build a trust layer for agentic payments in 5 years, we'd be like, well, then what these guys have been like doing, like what new thing you're bringing. And so like that's really like the core element that will always be true. And then a lot of things will change, but who you are and why you're coming after this will never change.
So even in the AI world, it's still about people.
It is indeed still about people, and because you still have to like pick angles that make sense. Obviously, have the energy to go after like the various topics, and I don't know how you can find that energy if it does not come deep down from something you believe in. It's way too hard. It's way too hard to be a founder to even consider going after something because it's hype.
As you said, it's not a question of what's the biggest challenge. It's bigger.
It's so a lot of like when we announced the raise, friends and other came and like started like congratulating us on that, and for me and for any founder really who understand what a raise means, it's good, but it just means that the challenge ahead is like 10x. So it just gets harder, and you like I take a lot of like the image of like an athlete or something. It's just that you train, you do the reps. It was really hard to like start from nothing from no co-founder to a co-founder, from a co-founder to like having a team, to have a team, to have a product, to from a product to like actually have incorporated the company. So all these steps were hard. Raising was extremely hard. Announcing that was harder, but now we have like expectations, and we're like like we have milestones that like I have can give a series of investors, but I have at least 17 stakeholders that are like waiting to receive every month news that like we're absolutely crushing it, and so like it just you increase the expectations at every stage.
Love the realism. It's not, don't chase the hype, guys.
Or find another source of energy, or like but if you are driven by like working towards something that you're gonna dedicate like hours and it will take like all your like basically brain, do it for something else, and that something else should be like something that is core to you. Otherwise you'll last a few months doing it.
Ghali, thank you so much for this chat. Like I said, it really does feel like we're talking about the future. I've been really lucky to follow yours and Leo's journey the last few months, and it's it's super cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
super cool.
Thank you for being here from the very early days.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.